What is up, guys? My name's Austin from The Normal Investor, and I hope y'all having a great weekend so far. Please keep in mind that I am not an investment advisor. Do your own DD. This is all my opinion on everything, and let's get right into it because I have a longer video for you guys today. So I want to recap my stocks from last week, guys, and the first one we're going to be looking at is AMC, because this stock, believe it or not, seems to be really dictating the moves of especially some of these smaller shorted stocks. So as I said earlier last week, that I was looking for a bounce off of this support trend line right here where we saw a bounce here and here, and sure enough we did get that bounce and we rallied over this descending resistance, and we went all the way back up from around 42 at lows all the way up to around 60 again. Well, we briefly got over 60, but we couldn't hold that 60 area, which is acting as a pretty strong resistance for us, and we did end up selling off the rest of the week, and it does look like we're bouncing off of this 20-day moving average. So well, the 180-day moving average on the 20-day chart, and I'm very interested to see where this goes next week and see if we can get a bounce here and retest that $60 levels, but we have to get over that $60 level to see all-time highs again, and so hopefully we break that and we can get these hedgies out of their positions. My second pick for last week was SPCE, which is Virgin Galactic, and as you guys know, this is a very shorted stock, and with AMC it pumped with everything else, and I said that we are testing this resistance. Well, it used to be a support, but this long-term trend line I have right here where we bounced off multiple times in these areas, and sure enough we didn't break it 2 or 3 times, but we finally ended up breaking it here, and we had a nice little rally like I thought would happen, where we went from around 31 the same day all the way up to around 38, 43, and we did pull back, and guys, it looks like we're holding this longer term trend line as a support again. So I would be watching this stock in the coming weeks to hold this, and if we do, we very well could be going back up to around this 45 level to the top of this long-term trend line. And just like SPCE, guys, I have NEO, which last week I said we're going to try to break out of this resistance around 42.81. That was a resistance back here and here. And sure enough, guys, let me zoom in, but we did end up breaking that. And guys, we went all the way up to 45 from that 42 area. And this isn't a pick for this week of mine, but if you're in NEO, my next spot I would be looking at is 46.55, which was the peak right here back in March. But I'm gonna draw this trend line real quick, and we are right at it. So let me extend that to the right, and look at this, guys. So I would be watching this right here as your next resistance. We might have a little pullback Monday, but if we break that, we could be going higher. So those are the levels I'd be watching on NEO, but we did break that resistance we were talking about in last video. Now for RIDE, guys, which is Lordstown Motors, I said that we were coming up to a resistance that was a previous support way back here, and I said that I personally didn't think we would break it and we would pull back down to the 180-day moving average, which I was right on one, but I was wrong that we would break it, which we did, and we rallied to 15, which is a nice little profit if you did take profits, but it could not hold that 1286 support, and we did pull all the way back down to the 180-day moving average. So this is one I'm watching. I personally did buy into this, and I made a little bit of a profit, but be watching if it pulls back below this 180-day moving average, because that wouldn't be the best side. It definitely bears would be in control, but that's the levels I'd be continually watching if you like RIDE. As for ARKK, which is ARK Investments, their ETF, and for innovation, I said we were teeter-tottering on this long-term support we had here and here, and it ended up, I said we could go both ways, and it chose the upside, which is great. I love ARK, and we did break out a little bit after we dipped, and we ended up breaking the 180-day moving average as well, guys. So this is looking really bullish right now, all the way from around 110 to 116 last week. So this is one I have my eyes on, and you could continue to see rally up to probably what I'd be looking at is to watch that 116 level as your next resistance. If we break that, we could get going all the way back up to the 120. So this is one I still have my radar on now. All right, now I hope y'all can keep up, guys. I know I was rapid firing those, but this is the last stock from last week, and it's GNOG, which is Golden Nugget Gaming. And I said we were in a falling wedge, guys, and we were getting close to that upper resistance trend line. Let me zoom in here, which we ultimately broke and had a nice little run of about $2 or $3 here, which we did pull back, but ultimately we are at the upside of that wedge, and we did break break out into the 180-day moving average. So guys, this is looking pretty bullish to me and something we can see a continuing uptrend for. So after all that, guys, that was last week. Let's get into my picks for this week. So number one, guys, is good old BABA. And I know y'all are like, Austin, if I hear BABA one more time in a video, I'm leaving. Well, guys, this stock is back at that trend line, that lower support of around 211, and it is right there at 211.78. This is, guys, for sure, I'm going to be buying this stock next week. It could go a little bit lower. I don't think it will. I think we'll get a bounce off this level as long as the market's looking good. But, guys, this is starting to trade perfectly in this descending triangle, and if we can get a bounce off that and break out of this upper resistance here of the upper trend line, this stock has endless potential going all the way up to around $300, as I said, if the market's good. So keep a close eye on this one. If it does break, I would wait to see if we retest this lower trend line, but I'm personally thinking we're going to get a nice bounce here and hopefully break this upper resistance. My next stock I'm watching closely this week, guys, is CRM, which is Salesforce. And as you can see here, let me zoom out a bit. We had an upper resistance trend line that we touched here, here, and here that we just couldn't break. But let me zoom in, and we finally broke out, guys. And I want to show you another line that I'm seeing form right here is a support that we touched here, 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 and here. And guys, it looks like this is starting to form a bit of a wedge. It's not perfect. I'm going to draw it here so you can see it, and I'll remove this line so we can see it. But if you see this wedge, and it looks like we could break out to the upside here, guys, but be watching for this support to hold every time. So this is one I'm looking to trade if we can get a pullback down to this this support trend line and hope for a bounce, something I'd be trying to play calls, or if it broke through it, maybe play a put on it. So this is one I'm watching more just for the technical standpoint, which is most of my trades anyone, but keep this one on your watch list because this one's looking interesting to me. The next stock I'm looking at is NNDM, and this isn't so much just a crazy short-term trade that I think is just going to take off. It could be, I'll explain that in a second, but this is Nano Dimension. If you don't know, this is a 3D printing company that people can buy their product from, and it has a lot of like possibilities it can do in the future with circuit boards and stuff like that. But I'll let you look more into the company if you like the sound of that. But I'm trading more off the graph. But the short interest of this stock is around 11%, which is not crazy high like Workhorse and other ones, around 40. But it didn't take off as much as I thought it would for that amount of short percent. So I'd be looking for if this big hype of short interest stocks to continue, that maybe this one picks up a little bit of a steam and we see a little bit of a run up. But if that doesn't happen, this is still a stock that I would like to potentially hold long term, and we are at a nice like long term support here, right here. So be watching this one. This one could take off short term, but if it doesn't, I'm prepared to hold this stock longer. So the next two stocks is kind of a 2-in-1, and both of them, the reason behind that is both of them I'm looking at for the same reason, as in they just broke above the long-term moving average on the 180-day chart, which is pretty bullish as long as it can hold. But the first one is ARKF, which is ARK's ETF for fintech innovation. And as you can see here, I'm on the 180-day chart. We just broke above the 180-day, so we can hold that. We still have a decent amount of room to run up, but as you know, if you cross that moving average on the 180-day, the long-term moving average, it means it's pretty bullish. And the next stock that's the same thing is going to be Intel. And let me pull that chart up. And same thing here, guys. We just crossed the 180-day moving average, and this one has some room to run up as well. So I'm looking to buy into these stocks if they do hold and they don't drop below. And that would be my stop loss if they did drop below that point. But both of these are companies that I'm willing to hold for the long term that I believe in. All right, guys, so we are here, and I've got CRSR pulled up, and this is my last stock of the stocks that I'm watching this upcoming week. And there's same thing. There's two reasons I'm buying this stock. One, I think this stock has a lot of long-term growth potential. As you can see here, we went all the way up to 52.34, kind of off that initial IPO, and we've kind of been trading sideways since then with a little bit of downward direction. But this stock, guys, has about 20% short float. and it could have a nice little rally, but as you can see here, it's just been stuck in the sideways trading. So I think this one's getting close to breaking out, and if you zoom in here, we're testing that 180-day moving average here, guys, and if we could break above that and hold, this stock does have a lot of potential to move up, and I think a lot of people are holding this stock, and if you could get that momentum along with being over that average and people getting exciting that the stock is finally moving, you could have some success with this one in the long term. Because as far as, if you don't know what Corsair is, it is like a gaming company that produces keyboards and mouses, but they also have several other business ventures. But the stocks like this aren't going anywhere. Everyone knows that gaming's here to stay, and it's just going to grow every year pretty much. So this is one I'm looking to add to my long-term account, but I also think we could see a little bit of a jump if people start noticing that short interest, and see if we could see a little bump up and break that sideways movement that we've had over the last several months. So that's it for my stock picks of this week, guys, but I'm going to try something new with this video, and instead of doing SPY and QQQ analysis in the beginning, I'm going to do it at the end, because I know a lot of people are looking to look at my picks for this week and don't really care on the SPY and QQQ, but guys, it's really important because this can dictate the way your stocks trade. So first one I have up here is SPY. If you don't know, this is an ETF that tracks the S&P 500, and there's really not much to say, guys. We're at all-time highs pretty much. We are definitely. We're at 424.63 at the all-time high, and now we're at 424.41. So be looking at this one to hold that support around 423.97 or that 424. And as far as QQQ, it's pretty much the same as SPY. We are really close to breaking that all-time high for 342.88, as we are at 341.4 right now. So just about a dollar or so more to go when we break that. But really, on SPY, you don't really have a new resistance to be looking at. You really just have those supports. But as far as QQQ, we do have this resistance of 342.88 to be trading off of. So be watched to see if we break that. We could be rallying higher, but we could also not break it and pull back down to around that 336 level. So be watching those as far as the overall market. And that's it today, guys. I hope y'all really enjoyed the video. Pepper decided to join us for the outro, but a lot of these stocks are kind of the same thing as last week. They have some short interest, or they're nearing their long-term supports or resistances, and I'm looking to get a quick trade off it. Not many news, but it's more of a technical thing for me. So just be careful. The market was pretty crazy last week with all the things happening with AMC and a lot of these short interest stocks just skyrocketing. But remember, they can drop just as fast. So be careful with your money. Don't blow it and lose it, and just be safe out there, because right now we don't know what the market's going to do, and these times are pretty crazy. So be careful with your money. As I said, remember, these are all my picks. I'm not a financial professional. So at the end of the day, let's make some money next week, guys, and I hope y'all have a great week.